Ladies and gentlemen, stop everything you're doing right now because the global commodity markets are facing a seismic shift that could redefine industrial supply chains for years to come. As of today, January 1st, 2026, China's new export licensing requirements for silver have officially taken effect, with President Donald Trump issuing a strong pushback, labeling the move as an attempt to hold the world economy hostage through resource control. This isn't just another trade tweak. It's a calculated escalation in U.S.-China tensions, centered on China's dominance over a metal essential for solar energy, electric vehicles, electronics, and defense technologies. If you're invested in markets, tech, or renewables, you need to grasp this development fully because its ripple effects are already sending shockwaves through prices, industries, and geopolitical alliances. We're breaking it all down in depth right here. China's Ministry of Commerce has implemented a strict licensing system for silver exports starting today, limiting approvals primarily to around 44 large, state-sanctioned companies that meet rigorous criteria like minimum annual production of 80 tons and substantial credit lines. This replaces the old quota system and effectively prioritizes domestic needs, potentially reducing global availability by restricting flows from smaller exporters who previously supplied international markets. China controls 60–70% of refined silver supply worldwide, making this policy a powerful lever in an already tight market plagued by structural deficits for years. President Trump responded swiftly in statements and posts, declaring that China's restrictions are unacceptable economic coercion and vowing to accelerate U.S. domestic mining incentives while forging stronger supply partnerships with allies in Peru, Mexico, Australia, and Canada. He emphasized America's resolve not to be dependent on adversarial nations for critical materials, promising billions in federal support for exploration and production in resource-rich states to counter what he calls Beijing's weaponization of commodities. Economically, the fallout is immediate and profound since silver's unmatched conductivity makes it indispensable in photovoltaic cells, EV batteries, semiconductors, and advanced medical devices. With industrial demand accounting for over half of global consumption and no viable short-term substitutes, any export curbs exacerbate existing shortages, driving prices to record highs above $80 per ounce before recent pullbacks amid volatility. Analysts forecast potential deficits widening to thousands of tons annually, pushing consumer electronics and renewable costs up 15 or 25% if disruptions persist. Geopolitically, this move underscores China's resource nationalism strategy, mirroring past plays with rare earths and antimony to secure advantages in strategic rivalries. It tests global alliances as Europe rushes for autonomy deals, India ramps up imports, and Japan balances ties carefully. Russia has voiced support for Beijing's approach, hinting at possible coordination in broader economic blocs challenging Western access. On the defense front, silver's applications in radar, missiles, and satellites amplify security concerns, prompting the Pentagon to expand stockpiles despite acknowledged gaps. Trump's initiatives include proposals for rapid investment in secure domestic sources, though environmental and regulatory challenges could delay full implementation. Domestic reactions highlight sharp divides, with supporters hailing the firm's stance as vital to reshoring jobs and reducing vulnerabilities built over decades, while critics caution against inflationary spikes harming everyday Americans. Polling shows broad concern over supply chain risks, fueling calls for balanced policies protecting both security and economic stability. Historical parallels abound, from rare earth curbs that shifted global industries to energy embargoes reshaping alliances. China's timing exploits ongoing deficits while the U.S. administration prioritizes independence in critical minerals, recently designated as strategic. Financial markets are reallocating aggressively, with inflows to mining stocks and physical silver ETFs surging as hedging intensifies against prolonged uncertainty. Options activity signals expectations of continued swings rather than swift diplomatic relief. Technology firms are accelerating diversification, scouting alternatives in friendly nations and investing in recycling. But capital-intensive shifts leave near-term exposure high amid optimized Chinese-dependent networks. Energy ambitions face hurdles as solar scaling demands reliable, affordable silver, potentially delaying net-zero progress and intensifying debates over foreign reliance versus expanded domestic extraction. International postures differ, with EU officials advocating open trade alongside independence pursuits, while Asian economies signal de-escalation preferences to safeguard growth. Media narratives across outlets span a wide range of perspectives, from cautious optimism about diplomatic resolutions to alarmist warnings of prolonged supply disruptions, yet they largely converge on acknowledging the severe implications for global costs, pushing up prices for everyday items like smartphones, electric vehicles, and solar installations, as consumers bear the brunt of tightened availability. Corporate executives have voiced growing concerns over the unpredictability introduced by these licensing requirements, arguing that such volatility stifles long-term innovation and investment planning, while industry groups intensify lobbying efforts for transitional aids and exemptions to mitigate potential flow reductions in the coming months. Experts continue to stress that communication lines between major powers remain persistently open despite the heightened rhetoric, frequently recalling past tensions involving critical minerals that ultimately resolved through pragmatic, behind-the-scenes settlements, preserving essential trade flows. Future scenarios vary widely depending on upcoming diplomatic engagements, ranging from contained adjustments achieved via targeted bilateral talks, addressing specific grievances to deeper structural fractures that could profoundly impact worldwide economic growth and industrial output. Public sentiment is shifting rapidly, as individuals increasingly draw direct links between these policy developments and personal impacts on affordability of goods, employment stability in manufacturing sectors, and overall household budgets strained by rising commodity-driven inflation. Investment strategies are evolving accordingly, with growing emphasis on entities actively advancing reshoring initiatives and building diversified resource bases to navigate the persistent unknowns in global supply dynamics. Diplomatic calendars are brimming with upcoming forums and summits offering critical opportunities for direct dialogue, supplemented by active back-channel efforts probing areas of potential mutual accommodation. Innovation is surging in areas like material substitutes, advanced recycling technologies, and efficiency gains in silver usage, attracting priority funding from cross-sector government and private initiatives aimed at reducing long-term dependencies. Consumer behavior trends are shifting toward greater preference for products emphasizing secure, non-vulnerable sourcing, reshaping marketing strategies and brand preferences in response to heightened public sensitivity. Educational institutions are rapidly updating curricula to incorporate these real-time events, deeply exploring the intertwined nature of economics, national security, environmental sustainability, and international relations. Cultural expressions are emerging to capture the prevailing public mood, manifesting through diverse creative outlets like commentary, satire, and artistic interpretations that process collective unease amid signs of determination in facing pivotal shifts. Scientific research collaborations are hastening efforts toward more sustainable mining practices and alternative materials, persisting despite underlying geopolitical frictions due to recognized mutual benefits. Business planning is increasingly integrating heightened geopolitical risk assessments to build greater resilience in operations and supply chains. Policy debates are refining the optimal mix of confrontation and cooperative engagement, recognizing that balanced approaches best serve broader national interests. Global institutional frameworks are modernizing to better address contemporary resource realities and conflicts threatening stability. Individual citizens are pondering the longer-term legacies these developments leave in terms of prosperity, security, and opportunities for future generations. The choices made in the weeks and months ahead will fundamentally shape whether current turbulence evolves into temporary adjustments or more profound reorderings of international alliances and trade patterns. Historical precedents vividly illustrate how great powers have navigated similar dangerous passages through combinations of resolute strength and pragmatic flexibility, avoiding miscalculations while advancing core interests. Public discourse is advancing beyond initial reactive phases toward deeper examinations of underlying drivers, seeking paths to balanced, sustainable stability. Key economic metrics demand ongoing vigilance, particularly commodity pricing trends, corporate earnings guidance, and measures of consumer confidence reflecting real ground-level realities. Political considerations carefully balance the need for domestic demonstrations of resolve with assurances to international partners of responsible measured stewardship. Intensifying rivalry continues to propel rapid advances in pivotal technological domains critical for future dominance. Environmental trade-offs increasingly complicate decisions, weighing the implications of expanded mining against variances in regulatory standards among suppliers. Social unity requires responsive, inclusive policies to address strains disproportionately affecting different communities. International legal mechanisms offer potential resolution options, though practical enforcement remains limited against determined major powers. Private diplomatic tracks enable more candid progress away from public scrutiny. Media presentation demands precision and context to avoid undue amplification of risks while fully informing on involved stakes. Stay informed. Forward always.